All right. Okay, so white's clearly a stonewall player. Um, the idea is to play this, maybe this, castle, bring this knight over, play the knight to e5, play this knight here, transfer the queen to e1, bring it to h4, play g4 and g5, and see if you can't get a checkmate. Pretty straightforward plan, easy to implement. Let's see how close they come to this. Okay, so not normal, but playable. It doesn't help direct the knight over to e5. That's one of the ideas. White wants to get into that square. Of course, black could upset the apple cart and play d6 at some time. We don't know. We don't know what he's going to do. But white should have played knight f3. We want to focus on getting castled and castled as soon as we can. We don't want to delay that motive. Okay, e3, part of the stone wall. So now e5 is out of the question. Okay. And you should castle here and get it done. Okay. So now black is going to break on the wing and attack white's center. So black is threatening to get a majority of center pawns, but doing this helps activate this bishop. This bishop is kind of entombed, and if this pawn recaptures here, all white needs to do is find a way to advance that pawn, and his bishop would be sprung loose. So the game is essentially even. Okay, I'm a little reluctant about this idea simply because it opens up this diagonal. We had that diagonal shut down. Now it's opened up, and we're not gaining a tempo. We're not tickling a knight on c6. So black can maybe play for queenside expansion. Let's see what he does. Okay, he goes in for the center. That might drop a pawn. Let's see. I could be missing something. If we take en passant, this pawn vanishes. We're threatening the knight. We're threatening the pawn. So the pawn takes. And the queen just collects this pawn. What does black have for it? Not a lot. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now is he going to take the pawn? It looks sound to me. I don't think I'm missing anything. Yeah, he just won a pawn. So, let's go back here and check something. Okay, black's time is 47:49. After he makes this move, his clock goes down 12 seconds, but he got a 45-second increment back. So he took almost a minute on a move. That's too quick. Okay, the average chess game lasts 40 moves. Half your games are done under 40 moves. The other half go over. And usually at move 40, we can ascertain what the likely result should be. In other words, will white go on and win? Will black win it? Or should it be a draw? That doesn't mean that's going to be the result, but we can get a pretty good guess and figure out what's going to happen. So the critical point here is that you have nearly 2 minutes of move, and you've got to take it. If you don't take it, you shouldn't be playing this time control. You should go be playing 5-minute chess or 15-minute chess or something, or 10-minute chess. You shouldn't play 45. It's not fair to you. And the easiest things to calculate are forcing continuations. You have to recall that white can take en passant, and that's going to uncover an attack on d6. So had black taken 2 minutes on the move, he may have discovered that. So at this point, he's just bungled a pawn. But white is going quick too. Like now 36 plus 4, 40. White took 5 seconds on that move. Now, what if black had set a trap? We should slow down a little bit. He doesn't have to take the near 2 minutes he has, but he should be slowing down. Okay, so he protects his isolated pawn. And now suddenly we have a threat. Okay, so black is going to have to deal with this threat. How does he cover that square? Well, there's several ways. You can move one of the rooks. Okay, let's just look at Canada moves. Move one of the rooks to avoid the fork, or maybe we could play the knight here. Another choice would be to counterattack the white queen. So here we have right off the bat we have 4 Canada moves. Now we have to look at each one and then determine which one we want to play. So let's see what he does and how much time he took. So he found another one, but that allows doesn't allow the fork. But still, look what happened. His clock only, he went down 5 seconds. He took 50 seconds on the move. Could Black have properly evaluated this position with all of these? I mean, this forces the queen to back up. It could go here, and White hopes he takes, right? But he didn't have to do that. This doesn't really threaten anything. More logical is probably to retreat the queen, maybe even back to D1. Okay, and we have to calculate: is this knight coming in here going to be a problem? Okay. Now this one, I was talking about this one. This is probably a mistake. It defends the square, but I don't know. Maybe it traps the queen. Maybe it sets a trap. Look at that. Where's the white queen go? Okay. Well, I guess you go. No, you can't go here. So this, when I initially looked at this move in my calculation, I said, well, we're going to drive it away and get the fork. But I didn't analyze all the way out yet, but now I have this. Would have been a very interesting move. Matter of fact, this does put an interesting question to White. How does he get his queen out of there? So let's see. Let me get rid of the arrows. How does White save his queen? Might have to play this and return the pawn. Because that gives the queen a flight square. Now, maybe there's something more obvious here. I'm not the quickest guy in the world, but if I look at a position, I can solve it, just as you can. Okay, how does White get his queen out of there? Can't set up any counter threats against the king. So like I say, had Black taken his time, he might have found this move. And I think White has to play here. I think. Now, it's too bad this doesn't trap the queen. The knight's on the square, but we can kick it. We can kick it out if we want, and then suddenly Black appears to have his pawn back. Now there is maybe a little boomerang here. Let's take a look. We pin it, right? Oh wait. Yeah, we pin it. Okay. Now the point is, if here, maybe we can get away with this. No, we can't. The queen just takes it. Okay. No, he doesn't take it. Then we're fine. Now, could Black have seen all this when he played Queen E7? I will say no. So let's back this up. Let's see. So maybe we shouldn't play Bishop G7. Let's just take the pawn. Now, oh no, we can't. That drops this. Okay. No, let's see. So F5. We could always take this way. And now the queen does have her way out. So we can kick the knight here. Now bishop back. Now queen here.
Check.
And it's with check. That's a big difference. And then we collect the knight. Now White's winning. So Black can't. Let's see. So we're still going to go there. We're going to answer this with. We have to answer with this. We can't take with that pawn. We can't take with that pawn. Now this comes in. Okay, so this, if we take with the, we can't, it's illegal to take with the G pawn. If we take here, we walk into a pin. Okay. Now let's see. I was playing this before. How about we try this one? Okay, now let's see. I'm doing this because it hits the bishop. Now if white does this, black takes the bishop. We pick off the rook, but this knight's probably not getting out. Bishop d6, and I think it's safe to say that white's going to lose this knight. So, I mean, I don't know how much of this is forced. I'm not trying to be 100% accurate. I'm trying to see the best of what I can see. And when you play your game, you see the best of what you see. Okay, there's always an accurate way to play it. You know, you can throw this in on a computer and it'll solve it in an instant, but that defeats the purpose. You know, I'm strongly against using a computer to analyze a game, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them is, my favorite is, just imagine if you misplace something like your wallet or your car keys or your eyeglasses or your comb, why do you always find it in the last place you looked? And the simple answer is, when you find it, you stop looking. So in a chess game, if the computer shows you the best move, you stop looking. You stop looking at other choices. And, you know, that's just there. So black seems to be headed to victory here. So maybe knight b5 is a mistake by white. Let's back this up. See, okay, white spent... his clock gained 20 seconds. He spent 25 seconds on this move. Now, how can we avoid making a move like this? Okay, how can we? If this is a blunder, how can we avoid making a move like this? Well, one thing we can do is just say, well, hey, I've got guys here that need to get in the battle. What if I move one of those instead? Now, I'm not saying this is the best move. That would be the only place to put this bishop. You know, this, but it takes this move out of the equation because, you know, well, unless we get trapped still, you know, we have a way out. Okay, and the best black can do is regain his piece. It looks like. Okay, but guess what? White's still a pawn ahead. So, you know, we can avoid a lot of disasters like this by, number one, taking our time and seeing things through. And number two, just say, well, it's too early to develop that. Let me bring my other guys in first. Or we could just say, hey, you know what? I've stolen a pawn. I'm just going to... Black has a weakness here. Development is still even here. You know, these match. Okay. No lead in development for white, no lead in development for black, but white has an extra pawn, and my queen is safe here. So I'm just going to do this, and then think about developing my pieces. So maybe I'll transfer the queen over this way, like I was discussing earlier. Just play safety. You don't need, you know, white's strategically winning. You don't need to grab something early. You need to get them going early. Get this back row going. Okay. So he chooses queen e7. We didn't even evaluate the other moves, right? What were the other moves I said? Rook over or rook over? Well, you know, do this. Maybe we can steal a pawn, okay? Maybe we can go chase the other rook. I don't know. I don't know what's best. But I have to say black had better have something prepared if he's going to pitch the other pawn, right? But the purpose of looking at this move was it got black out of the fork, so we consider it. You know, we may not want to come here. That just drops the pawn, right? But we can come up here. That ends the fork, right? And then we stop and make sure white can't do anything dastardly. Let's see. Maybe he can do this. Okay, so you know we can reject the rook moves. Anyway, he plays here. Now white doesn't have time for this because he'll drop his queen. So let's see what happens. He trades. And now he brings his knight back. He decides there's nothing happening there. So white's gotten the queens off, but he's wasted two moves with his knight. It's not that critical yet. Black still has to move his knight or his pawn so he can develop his bishop so he can get this rook in the game. Okay, so now this move, part of what black is saying is that I want you to repair my pawn structure. Okay, I don't want this isolated pawn. I want you to take, so it opens up the diagonal for this bishop, so that it opens up this file for the rook. White's kind of in a little bit of a dilemma here. What does he do? Let me get rid of the arrows. How does he make a choice here? Well, if he protects the knight, black may very well trade twice just to give white some double pawns. Although I think that's in white's favor. You know, the more pieces come off, the closer white is to victory with his extra pawn. I think having the double pawns isn't so bad in this case. The pawn on c3 will control a couple of squares, and black certainly isn't going to gain any ground by advancing his pawns. White's advantage of the pawn is on the king side. So let's see what white does. Well, I feel this is a strategic mistake because he's helping black make his position stronger. Now, black did not open the E file. White did. White has moved black's pawn to d5. Don't move your opponent's pieces, move yours. Now, there's no way, black is going to take this every time. If you're playing a beginner who has no idea that he needs to take this back, he's going to go do something silly like this. Okay, and now you just got another rook. Free. Like maybe you're going to lose. No, you're going to trade this off if it gets trapped, okay? So black did not open up the E file. Black did not make this move. This is my mindset. I want it to be yours. This opened up this diagonal for the bishop. So the simple rule, it's Nimzovich's rule of exchanges. He outlines it in my system. I don't like the way he says it, however he says it, but I say it. Don't make exchanges which improve the position of your opponent's pieces. Instead, let him make exchanges which improve the position of yours. So, anyway, let's see where we go from here. Now, I guess he sees that if he moves his bishop, he drops a pawn. Okay, that makes sense. That's one of the drawbacks of opening up this diagonal. Okay, so what should white do here? Well, he could stop and play c3. Now, this gives him a horrible bishop, but hey, we're going to have to work with what we got. We do have a pawn advantage, okay? We'll keep a pawn. We can always swing a rook to the d file and even back this bishop up and use him later, okay? We can do a lot of things, but I don't see how knight g5 helps white's position. Where's this knight going next? Wait, yeah, where is he going? Is he trying to attack this? Because this knight doesn't really seem to have a future there. Meanwhile, we got a couple of guys here dying to get in the game. Okay, so knight comes over. Now this diagonal is open. Now it did close down this diagonal, so maybe white has time for this, but I'm not too certain. Bishop d2, we might chase the knight out and then drop the knight in here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so he's going to push. He's hoping he'll take so he can get here with check. But there's a tactical flaw here. The e-pawn is defensively pinned. Black could play d4, and he's threatening to win a pawn. And he does. So let's look at the time. See, okay, white did take some time on this move. 34 plus 17 is 51 plus 45. He took a minute and a half. So, but it's still not enough. And we still have more time on the clock than when we started. So, white's starting to get a little bit of a jam here. Now, how do we hold this pawn? It could get awkward. If we play rook here, this bishop's coming here. So here he decides that he'll just give up the pawn and try to collect it later. He doesn't want it, at least yet.
Check.
Now, this is a dangerous Wissenszug. How long did he take on it?
Check.
Well, he went pretty quick. His clock went up 37 seconds. That means he took 8 seconds on the move. And after this, white's dropping a piece. And suddenly black is winning. So, you know, the error of the way here is that he moved too quick. Okay, it's just that simple. Okay. All right. So now black has a winning game. What should have white done? Well, aside from slowing down, let's see, we went too far back. Okay, he needed to retreat the knight. Now, what's black going to do? Well, we don't know. Say he takes. Okay. Now we can come over here and go back after the pawn. But there might be some tactical whoops to that. Let's suppose black plays, well, I want to use this diagonal. Let's suppose black plays, I hate to go back there. Okay, so now we can take this and pin that critter. I don't know if this is going anywhere. We maintain the pin. Not quite enough. I hate to retreat this knight. He just doesn't have a good square to go to. So white should play this, and maybe he's going to get his pawn back. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's put the knight. There's no good place to put this knight. Well, let's put him here. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Now, that protects this, so invites white to surrender the bishop pair. Now he can take this. And let's pin it. Okay, now we can't take because we drop the rook, so king up. Black to play. Let's go back to this idea, see if it's any good. Now, white certainly tied up here. Illegal to move this. Moving this or this, keep the drop the rook. You know, he can't protect it. This bishop is really strong here. So white's left to moving pawns and his knight. Let's try the knight. Wait, it's not even white's move. Okay, black to play. How do we improve our position? Let's, for the sake of argument, let's advance the king up. Okay. Now, I'm going to do that. White's still a pawn up. Maybe he's getting ready to chase that bishop out. Yeah, maybe white's okay here. Once he evicts that bishop. We still have the pin. I come back here. Now the knight can come in there. And white's a pawn up. I don't know if this was forced or not, but it seemed to solve white's problem. Instead of
check,
just taking 8 seconds and playing a move, you know, suddenly losing game. And, you know, the game just is going to rapidly digress. And, you know, now there's discover check threats.
Check.
Here it comes. More discover check threats.
Check.
Now we've got a discover check.
Check.
He doesn't want it yet. He wants this one.
Checkmate.
That one gets a mate. All right. So, interesting game. Okay, 1 second. We'll move on to another one. Okay.